Our Fault Lines COVID-19 report was really undertaken to analyse how Australia dealt with the pandemic, with the intent to produce some recommendations for the next time Australia has to face a national health crisis.
When we're planning for the next pandemic, we've got to have fault lines front of mind in terms of planning, in terms of preparation, in terms of scenario testing. How is this going to affect our most vulnerable groups? Fault lines have got to be first and foremost.
I think the real value of this report, in being funded by philanthropy rather than commissioned by a government of the day, is that it is apolitical and it is reaching out to all levels of community to say what can we collectively learn from our response to COVID and how can we do it better the next time.
It's really important to remember that a lot of decisions around the pandemic were made in really uncertain times. We all felt that as Australians, and so did our decision makers. And so that meant that decisions were really hard to make, and we have to factor that into analysing the response.
Look, Australia did many things well. Some of the things we did well was to close the border very early.
Australians became really innovative, as did the rest of the world. We were meeting on Zoom, we were working out at home as well in innovative ways.
In the corporate response to COVID, they were very ready to introduce policies to all employees.
The extraordinary financial support given through JobKeeper and the expansion of JobSeeker, those were courageous decisions.
One of the areas we could have done better through the pandemic response was school closures should have been more specifically targeted.
Older Australians should have been better protected.
I think all of the economic supports should have been provided fairly and equitably.
Lockdowns and border closures were overused, costly, and in many cases avoidable.
Lockdown is a sledgehammer, whereas all of those other elements are probably scalpels in terms of how you're trying to deal with it.
You know, you get the wisdom of hindsight only if you've got the wisdom to look for that hindsight. It's really important that we learn from what we did well during the pandemic, learn from what we changed, and learn for things that we didn't get right. We need to be better prepared for the next health crisis, because the one thing we know is there will be one.
If you'd like to learn more about the review itself or engage in the conversation further, please visit our website, which is independentcovidreview.com. You can download the report from there.